G'day guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Boundary Riders podcast, episode 126, and oh boy do we have a lot to talk about today. May well be the last episode of the Boundary Riders podcast because we have to talk about the Izak Rankine homophobic slur, talk about that situation. Jamarra Ugle-Hagan as well, he's been up in the news recently. Talk about Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera's new blockbuster deal, and of course the main segments of the podcast as well. So let's roll the intro, guys, and get straight into it. Welcome to the Boundary Riders podcast, your one-stop shop for all your AFL content needs. He looks at his options, and Jack Ginnivan says, "Boys, you brought me to the club to do just this." But this guy has Flog written all over him.
From a tack down, Reed sprints away from Petrarca, leaves him in his wake, takes a second bounce, takes a third. The sheer arrogance of Harley Reid. Finish the job, young man!
So let's get into the footy news from the week that was. So guys, my brother is here as always. He's a bit depressed. Unfortunately, his team's missed out on Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. $2 million over 2 years. His team, Port Adelaide, though, was willing to pretty much give away half their list.
It was basically, what was it, a third? Oh, I was close.
It was $30 million over 12 years Port Adelaide were willing to offer.
It was kind of...
So wait, first of all, what are your thoughts? I mean, first of all, he signs with St Kilda. What do you think?
I think it's perfect for both teams because the fact is Port Adelaide Port Adelaide didn't have anything to give. We had nothing. Our only play was probably a player. That was our play. St Kilda, they got their man. They needed him. He is their player, their number one player, and he needed to be paid the most out of any player in that team. So
yeah, I mean the situation kind of lies right now that he's going to be paid $2 million. De Koning's going to be paid 1.7, and then Ugle-Hagan, who's likely going to be joining the club, is going to be up 900,000. And then there is some talks about Liam Ryan joining the club. I don't know how much
he won't get much anyway.
I couldn't
he
imagine.
Hasn't, to be honest, he's had a horrible year.
Yeah. Who at West Coast has had an amazing year? Not many.
Oh yeah, but his one wood was kicking straight. He's blown so many opportunities and game-winning opportunities in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, but what I'm trying to allude to is the fact that at least 3 of them are going to be up there. I think people bring up the fact that nearly an eighth of their salary cap's taken up by 2 players, and then Ugle-Hagan is going to be up there as well. Because I think the salary cap for an AFL club now is $17.7 million. I think it's something like that. But the fact that Nasiah and Tom De Koning, they're going to be taking up $3.5 million, nearly $4 million of it. It's a lot of money, and I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I think the highest paid player at the Saints currently before Nasiah's deal would have been Brad Hill. He would have been around 900 to $1 million. So, I mean, obviously they do have a lot of space, and it's understandable that they can they can offer this amount of money. But Port Adelaide, obviously, you just said that it's best for both parties. I mean, obviously the Crows. So it looked like Port Adelaide were offering the most, but obviously didn't have much on their side to give St Kilda. St Kilda were kind of middle ground with the $2 million, which is insane to say that they're middle ground. But then the Crows were looking at, I think it was 1.5 to 1.7. Is that something what we were looking at? So they were kind of going with the lowest deal, but obviously they had the we're a better team at the moment aspect of it, and they were going to say they could add add-ons or something as well.
And they're in the premiership window basically. That was their lure to get him over here.
Yeah. And you obviously just said that it was a good case scenario for Port Adelaide as well. Why do you think that?
Well, I think that if it's a 2-year deal, in 2 years, Port Adelaide can bank up some picks and maybe just climb up the ladder a bit, or show some good signs that he wants to come to Port Adelaide, back to Adelaide in general. And, you know, he does have a lot of mates that do play for Port Adelaide, as we've seen over this carnival of speculation of him taking the deal.
Yeah, and I think you have talked to me about this as well. You think the deal that Port Adelaide were going to give him is almost ridiculous.
I think it was like $2.5 million for 12 years. So what, $30 million that comes up to?
Like, yeah, so $2.3 million a year.
Like that's I think that's kind of ridiculous, but we'll see in about two years and see.
I mean, we say it's ridiculous now, but I think it's going to be very soon where we're going to see. I mean, the thing is, most people were suspecting that the Nick Day costs or Harley Reid were going to be the first $2 million players, and then recently, basically this second half of the year from Nasiah has skyrocketed him to be the highest paid player in the game. And then you've got players like Darcy there, Thilthorpe as well. There's a lot of players around that mark, even Aaron Cadman, who could be the next $2 million. There's a lot of players out there right now that are going to be vying for, a lot of money, especially with Tassie coming. Theirs could be half a dozen of them in the next 5 years being just $2 million players.
I think they're saying over the next 5 years, the increase in the salary cap is, I can't remember how much, but it is going to increase over the next 5 years in stages. So yeah, a $2 million player will become the norm over the next couple of times. I think the next one will be Harley Reid. I think his contract, wherever he goes, if he stays at West Coast or not, he will be the next $2 million player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're going to see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players the next 5 years.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And I think you said it a couple of weeks ago when you were last here, that you said that there's a lot of great players coming up now. We've got so many players under the age of 24 that are just going to be out and out stars. And some of them are under the age of under 21.
Yeah.
We've just seen so many guys that the development of some of the younger guys now is just amazing. Like, just looking back at Nick Dacos' first couple of years, and I know people would just be sick of hearing Nick Dacos glaze. They don't want to be here for that. But obviously, no one really saw the attributes of a player like that so quickly. And now we're seeing the evolution of Harley Reid, how good he was in his first year, and then Nasiah in his third year or fourth year. And then you got the likes of Darcy, Cadman, just a couple of years after them coming in. Sometimes it can take these sort of players 5, 6 years, but these guys are taking 2, 3.
Even someone like Logan Morris.
Exactly. I mean, Logan Morris, one who's not even really being talked about, is up there with one of the most amount of goals for a guy at his age.
In the amount of games he's played, he doesn't even play 50 games.
He's already kicked nearly 40 goals this year, I think, or he already has.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much carrying the Brisbane forward line as well for a lot of it, because Eric Hipwood's doing nothing and Charlie Cameron's had a very down year. So, and then he's got a couple of younger guys with him, but the guy is 20 years of age and he's carrying the reigning Premier's forward line at the moment. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the $2 million. It's going to be the norm of the best players in the game very shortly.
Yeah.
So let's move into a couple of news topics before we get our podcast, deleted off the face of the earth. Not that we don't have that many fucking crazy thoughts about it, but it's going to be I do have some thoughts about it. So first of all, a couple of injury news topics regarding, first of all, Eric Hipwood does seem that he's going to be missing at least 4 weeks with a calf injury, which would at least see him miss the first couple of finals if the Lions were to make it past the semi, you would think. Because he misses this week. We're at the finals by week 1 and then week 2. So, 4 weeks. Semi-final. So if they do get a double chance,
they'd probably want it.
Final.
They'd probably, they probably need it, to be honest. Not because of Eric Hipwood, but I just think it's very hard for even the reigning premiers to go back to back from doing it from 5th. Or in the bottom 4. I just think that it's going to be very difficult for him. Yeah,
I can't, and I mean, I've been on their side for a lot of this year, Brisbane, but I can't see them doing it twice in a row. But also, I mean, I've said in the tips, which you guys will see later, I think Fremantle and the Bulldogs, even though one of them may miss the finals, I think both of them have a way to win the flag almost if they get everything going their way.
Yeah, their strengths of both of those teams are so good, but their weaknesses are the ones that are holding them back so badly, really, and that's why they're in this position that it comes down to this game.
Yeah, exactly. So Eric Hipwood, he's going to be out for. I mean, does that really matter for them? I'm sorry.
Oh, come on! I think everyone keeps saying his generational game will be in the finals now.
I mean, he played one decent game in the finals last year. Actually, I don't even know. I know he didn't have a very good game in the grand final, but I mean...
It's been since Gather Round, as everyone keeps saying.
Yeah,
Gather Round
is... game this year, really. I mean, he only had a half, really.
I thought it was funny how, if he didn't get injured, this was going to be his 200th. Oh. I think... Yeah.
I mean, there's not really much other injury news topics really for a lot of the time. I think there'll be a couple of players this week rested or sent away early for their off season. I'd be very surprised on Sydney's point of view if I know they're going to play him, but I'm surprised that they would just have Brodie Grundy play. I think, and Izak Rankine as well. He got away with a suspension, but I think at this point you just
put everyone on ice.
I think there's a couple that are suspended for a week. I can't remember who the other one was today, over the week. There was one that was Shannon Neal.
Oh yeah,
They won't. I don't think they'll challenge it, but there's no point really.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? You got one game against Richmond. You might as well just let them have the week off.
Let Jeremy Cameron just have the forward line for a week, just for the moment, because Shannon Neal's stealing a couple off him in recent times. Obviously, Tom McCartan, the GOAT, just fucking kept him goals and even kicked one on him.
The spoiler team of the 2025 were the Swans, but they spoiled the wrong party.
They spoiled, exactly. I mean, they could have just let Cameron have a couple and Sydney win by a goal rather than losing by 6 goals and then Cameron not getting one. That'd have been better. Couple of sad newses on retirements. Well, I mean, not really sad news. I mean, had a career. Taylor Duray has decided that he will end his career at season's end. 2-time premiership player as well, one at Hawthorn, one at the Dogs, I believe, or do you have 2 at Hawthorn? No, I think it was 2 at Hawthorn, I'm pretty sure, because he joined the Dogs the year of the premiership. And Quinton Narkle, 3-club player, journeyman, he's decided to retire, I think, effective immediately. So, 59 games, 48, I think, was at the Cats, I think half a dozen at Port Adelaide, and then 3 at shift Dockers. So, he's been a bit of a journeyman. He has retired as well. And then we're kind of seeing, I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll definitely see some sad news regarding retirements. We've already seen Sam Doherty this year. Travis Boak, of course, next on Friday night. By the way, if you're a Port fan and you have the money to get to the game here in Adelaide, I think you should be getting there. We're actually going to go to this game just to say goodbye to Boak. I mean, I'm not a Port Adelaide fan, but I mean, I respect the way he's gone about his whole career. He could have left. He could have gone for glory. And I mean, he was probably hoping that he'd get it at Port Adelaide, but...
He nearly got there a couple of times. We just couldn't get over the line to the
grand final.
Except once in his first year, but yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. So let's move on. Let's talk about it.
So first of all, we'll start with Jamarra. Of course, he was caught up at 2:30 a.m. I think it was on the weekend. Was involved in he wasn't involved in the shooting, but he was in the vicinity of it. I mean, what do you say? I mean, the guy has so much potential. Has had so much potential. He's not involved in this one. He was not involved in the last one either. But why the fuck is he out at 2:30 a.m. on the weekend when he should be? And he's supposed to be trying to get his footy career back on track. What the fuck's he doing? Stay in your fucking house at 2:30 a.m. Go to bed, bro. Like, I mean, I don't want to sound like a fucking mother or anything, but your career is on the line. And I mean, it's just getting ridiculous at this point. Like, I've said the last few times when I've talked about trade rooms and stuff with Jamarra, I think that if they can get him right, the Swans, that he'd actually be a really good recruit. But how can you take that risk?
No, you can't. I don't think you can. And I severely think his career is done. I really do. I really can't see a team wanting to try and change it. Like, I think a couple times ago, I think that was it. But you just keep hearing stories about him, and it's just being in the vicinity of the area of an incident
of a crime.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it, a carjacking, or was it the last incident, and obviously the one before that? Who the hell knows what happened? So many rumors regarding it, but it's just getting to the point now. It's like, what club would take the risk? I mean, we saw how many times North Melbourne took the chance on Taron Thomas, and he continued to just shit on them. Just go, nah, fuck it, I'm an AFL, I'm going to be the next star, who cares? And he shat his career away.
Yeah.
Now Jamarra is basically going down that same route. Like, he may not have been involved in this one, he may not have been involved in the last one, but why is he in the vicinity of them? I've never been involved in a fucking carjacking. I've never been near a shooting. I mean, obviously he's an AFL star with a lot of money, but don't be in the vicinity of this shit.
Yeah.
There are so many other AFL players. Most of the AFL players in the competition are not in the vicinity of this shit. Stay away from it. If these people are influencing your life, get away from them.
Yeah.
Have better people around you. And it sounds like the Dogs have done everything in their power to be on his side throughout all of this. And he continues to just fucking go into this shit. Absolutely crazy. So, hopefully, this is a wake-up call. But I'd like to say that the last 2 times.
Yeah, So, I just don't see it changing, to be honest. And he'll be the next Taron Thomas and just...
He's got one more year on his Bulldogs contract. At this rate, it's either he gets traded, in my opinion. Either he gets traded or the Dogs release him of his contract. And
I'd be very shocked if someone takes him.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's just let him try and get him out of the contract. I feel like that Dogs should be able to just release him without even having to pay him out because it's not their fault what's happened really. I mean, there's a lot of family issues and all that sort of stuff, and it's obviously very tough to deal with. And I think we'll talk about a little bit about that sort of talk in the media a little bit later with Bobby Hill because that's ridiculous the way what he's going through. But the point, the issues I have is the fact that he's in the vicinities of these sort of situations when he should have the foresight to know that this is not a good idea for your life, for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully he can just shape up and even if it's not an AFL career, just have a decent life and get away from these situations. But it's I understand it probably be very difficult for him. He's still quite young. I mean, I think he'd be in his early 20s.
Well, he was drafted in 2020, so
he'd be like
5. I'd be 23.
23. So he's still quite young. I mean, I'm 27, going on 28. Fuck, it's almost over. It won't be long before TikTok comments.
My football career is definitely over. It's 27.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, I thought I was nearly there.
I was nearly in the Legends game, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon I was close.
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been very close. But anyway, yeah, hopefully he can sort it out. But I think it's going to be very difficult for him to have an AFL career from here. It's going to be super tough, especially now with this latest issue. Let's talk about Izak Rankine. Obviously, on Saturday night, massive game against Collingwood was the game we streamed here. I was literally shaking at the end. It was so crazy, that game of football. But basically, that's all been forgotten about at this point because during the game, Izak Rankine was caught making a homophobic slur to a Collingwood player. It came out on the Sunday. I think Collingwood made the issue known to the Crows and the AFL. And then that's now moved to the AFL going to reprimand Izak Rankine. Now, before we get into the incident and the defence the Crows have got, I want to briefly cover the history so far this year on players who have been suspended for homophobic slurs. So, on AFL level, we had Jack Graham. He was suspended for 4 games for the use of a homophobic slur. And earlier in the year, we saw Sydney's Ryak Andrew receive a 5-match ban for the same offence in the VFL game. Now, I don't know why he got 5 and Jack Graham got 4. I mean, no, just because it was one VFL. It's so inconsistent. This is why I think this could go anywhere. Who knows what's going to happen with Izak Rankine?
And the reality is finals.
Yeah.
The finals, even though it shouldn't come into effect at all in this verdict, it will. 100% it will.
Yeah, I mean, all that happens in the same sort of aspects with just suspensions in general, with like, you know, a lot of the time. But I mean, obviously this is different. But I'm saying it's like the finals always take some sort of reasoning into the account that is the verdict that comes out. They've delayed it until tomorrow or today when you guys are watching this. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I did want to cover the defence that the Crows are going with for trying to look for leniency on this situation. So, the Adelaide have launched a multifaceted defence to keep Izak Rankine's season alive, with the Crows citing an escalating war of words between Dan Houston, who referred to himself knocking out Izak Rankine in last year's showdown. Of course, he got 4 matches for that, Dan Houston. The Herald Sun has confirmed part of the Crows' submission to the AFL is that Rankine felt triggered by the comment on Saturday night after Houston received a 5-match ban for concussing him with that high bump. It ended Houston's Port Adelaide career as he moves to the Pies, and as a part of the back and forth against Collingwood on Saturday night, that included sparring between both parties, and Houston made comments referencing that incident. It is not known the exact exchange of words, but Houston made reference to the hit on last year. It was not the first time the Port Adelaide or former Port player has made a comment about him being carried off the field in last year's showdown. Adelaide does not condone Rankine's comments and accepts that he has taken full blame for using the F slur on Saturday night. The Herald Sun does not believe that Houston was a victim of Rankine's slur, but Adelaide thinks that Houston's sledge contributed to the Crows' agitated state at the time and the reasoning for it. So a 3-week ban would allow Izak Rankine to miss round 24 and 2 finals, which would then see him play potentially in the grand final. Anything more than that will definitely put him in jeopardy of missing the grand final if the Crows were to make it. They would have to play a semi-final, lose their first final to give Izak Rankine a chance, and a 5-match ban would just
completely eliminate him from playing in finals. I mean, what do you say? I mean, you say, I don't want people to jump down my throat. I personally don't think that he should get 5 weeks. But on the history that the AFL have gone through this year, they've locked themselves into a corner. They have put them into a corner. They've put themselves in a situation where if they don't give him 5 or more weeks, or 4 more weeks at the very least, then they are just looking at finals and they're making a decision based on, the game itself rather than taking a stand on this. And I don't know. It's just so hard to make the decision and just say, outright this, outright that. Because I feel like a lot of people say, he should be banned for so many weeks, just like trying to posture about how, how they should not have this in the game. When a lot of the time I feel like it's just, how many Collingwood fans do you think would be backing this up if a Collingwood player did this? And it was, let's say Braden Maynard's hit or whatever was given 3 weeks and he missed the grand final. Now obviously it's different, but how many people would have been absolutely fucking horrible if that happened? For Collingwood. And then all these Collingwood fans are like, yeah, he should be given life. It's like, are you really being genuine, or are you just having a go because they beat you on the weekend? I don't know. What do you think? How many weeks do you think he should get?
Well, if you go back on recent results, it's going to be 4 to 5. But finals will come into it. I think that. I think it should be 4. I think it will be 3 and give them a chance to play finals. And if you actually look at the players that have done it in the past, they're not really bums on seats players. Like, let's be honest. And that's not. I'm not saying that that's good or bad or otherwise. I'm saying that that's what the AFL will look at, because Rankine is a bums on seats player. He gets fans to games, but that will come into effect, I think, as well, in what will eventually give him 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they will want him playing finals.
Yeah, well, it's the grand final anyway.
Exactly. I'd be shocked if he gets 5 and he's out for the year.
I would be too. I think that the thing is, he should be given at least 4 weeks, because that's the AFL standard they've given. But I personally don't want to see him out of a grand final. I think it's very tough. As long as he's learned from his lesson, which, I mean, it's hard to say at this point. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't know the guy. I think a lot of people who are questioning his character in the heat of the moment, I don't know. You probably should. Obviously, you shouldn't be saying it. Obviously, you shouldn't be saying it. I mean, make another fucking call him an idiot. Call him a moron. Call him a fuckwit. Call him something else. Call him a. We don't have a monetization. Call him a cunt. Fucking come on.
Did you hear what Braden Maynard told Riley Fieldthorpe on the weekend?
What did he call him?
He called him a weirdo. Use that one. He's just such a weirdo.
Such a weirdo. Like, you can go a little bit harder than weirdo.
Yeah, but
you don't want these players to be robots, but you also, they shouldn't be making slurs on the ground. Yeah, and I think a lot of this as well, it's like a lot of people are like bringing up the point of like, oh, these things are said all the time when I'm playing football during the game. And it's like, bro, you're playing football at country football. It's like your leisure time. It's like, yeah, whatever. And then some people are like, oh, I say this at work all the time, or these sort of stuff. And it's like, you shouldn't really be saying that at work. Yeah, really. I mean, at the end of the day, these players, it's their job. They're out there at work. Yeah, really. They shouldn't be saying it at work.
And the thing is that we all know that they get this training around this sort of stuff every pre-season. Yeah. They know that what the homophobic slurs are not a thing to say at all, and I think that's why they're cracking down on it. But to be honest, is it really working? Like, I think what's like the 6th or 7th player now in the last 2 seasons.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're actually cracking down on it. I'm sure it's happened before.
Yeah,
but then now they're just doing it, and now it's focused about it. I think that, I mean, it's just an issue that just is now being amplified because players are getting banned. I'm sure it was said all the time, well, maybe not all the time, but it was said on the field before.
Yeah,
and maybe we've grown we've grown a lot more to ban him. But I think my stance on it is he probably he should be getting 4 or 5 games, and because it is his job, it's his livelihood. He shouldn't be saying that because at your job you shouldn't be making slurs at a job, and especially the thing is as well, if you make it as like a joking comment or whatever, that's not what he was doing. He was obviously yelling it and saying it in anger. It's not like it was a joke or anything. So if you said that at work, and obviously it's not a joke, if you're looking at the same circumstances of it happening, just at your job, like you were angry and you called someone a slur, then you do have every right to be reprimanded from your job.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you sit. And it's also, it's like yelling at it's like not looking at a regular co-worker. It's yelling at someone from a different company as well. Because I don't know, maybe I'm stretching this a bit too far, but it's also like he's not his teammate, he's not his co-worker, he's just on the other side of things. And Dan Houston shouldn't have done what he was doing, like egging him on. It's like, it was a pretty weak hit, I'm going to be honest, Dan. You weren't exactly tough, hitting him on the floor and knocking him out cold. Bit of a loser act for you, like, yeah, I'm so tough. It's like, bro, you knocked some cunt on the floor and knocked him out. You're not exactly a tough guy.
I will say this, like, you've got to try any way to try and get your team over the line, and that's what he was doing, Dan Houston, trying to, make it bad for Rankine.
Yeah,
like
bring
him off his game, bring the trauma back, like.
And then Izak Rankine's gone too far.
And then Rankine's went back at the.
But be the bigger guy. Don't use a slur. Just fucking call him something else.
At the end of the day, Crows had the best win all season, in the best game all season, but no one's talking about it.
It's vanished in 24 hours.
And they've won. They'll finish top. There's no way they lose to North. They'll win. Yeah.
Unless they rest everyone, and then even then North Melbourne still have to make it. It will still be a Flog.
North Melbourne do have a weird way of winning these games late in the season, but they're going to finish in the top 2. They've got a home final, but no one's talking about it this week. It's
all about how many weeks is Izak Rankine going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, final verdict. I think he gets. What I think he should get is 4. What I think he will get, I'm leaning towards you. I think 3. What do you?
I think it's the same.
Yeah, you think he deserves 4, we'll get 3.
Yeah.
So at this moment in time, if the Crows were to go win in qualifying, win in the prelim, he would play in the grand final. If they lose the qualifying final, win the semi, he'd play in the prelim.
Yeah.
That's how we're sitting at this moment in time. Make sure to let us know down below. Again, don't fucking have a massive whinge about it. It's like, he shouldn't have said it. I think that's where most people should sit and lie. I think that's what we should let it be. And he deserves to be reprimanded for it. I think the argument of saying that, I say it when I'm playing footy all the time, or I hear it at the football, I hear it when I'm playing football all the time. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's for leisure. You're in probably a country town. It's probably, this guy's an AFL footballer. This is his job. Shouldn't be saying it. Anyway, let's move on to the preview to the new round, of course, round 24. Does anyone care about the games at this point? It's all controversies off the ground. That's the real theatre.
There's still one more game there's actually more games to decide how the 8 structures up.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, it looks like that we could have at least only 2 teams can fall out the 8, unless the Gold Coast somehow lose their last 2 games. So I can't see
it would be such a Gold Coast thing to do. Would be to lose those 2.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone based on our tips. You guys will see our tips in a moment. Who do you think misses?
Are we telling them or?
I mean, it could be the Gold Coast.
I'd love to see the Dogs miss.
But you think?
I think they make it. I think it's going to be fraud mental.
You think it's going to be fraud mental? I think the Dogs miss. I've got my faith in Fremantle. I don't think no. You know what? I'm not even going to tease you one tip. All right. Let's get into the preview to the new round.
The final round, we have got right to the end of the season, and still we don't have the exact knowledge of what teams will be making the final 8. Going to be a massive final round. Well, I mean, a massive final Sunday. I think there is a couple of good games coming up earlier in the round, though, and that is one game we're going to be taking a look at. First of all, it is Port Adelaide up against the Gold Coast Suns. Now, Port Adelaide right now are probably the 17th worst team in the competition in terms of form, probably just in front of the West Coast Eagles, while the Suns dropped the crucial game last week and still need to win at least one more game to secure a final spot. Now, in 3 of the last 4 weeks, the Power have been absolutely smashed, and if it wasn't for the fact that this is the farewell game for both Ken Hinkley and Travis Boak, I wouldn't even give them one iota of a chance. However, on the Suns' point of view, they were incredibly ordinary last week, and the 2 weeks prior were pretty cruisy wins against the Blues and the Tigers, so I'm not exactly trusting the Suns at this stage. Now, another factor that has to be taken into account here is the fact that this game is at the Adelaide Oval, a venue where the Gold Coast have struggled at times, and it was only 6 weeks ago where they were absolutely wiped off the park by the Adelaide Crows. Now, of course, Adelaide are a much different prospect compared to the Power, but the record at Adelaide Oval does speak for itself. Now, I think this match simply comes down to Port Adelaide themselves. Do they want to fight out this season? Do they want to show up one last time for the coach that they love so much? A guy who basically brought this team back from the brink of resignation from the league. Do they want to fight and put one last massive performance together for pretty much their greatest player in Travis Boak? And my answer is, I think they can. I'm going to be tipping Port Adelaide. I think they'll be able to steal the show one last time. I think they're going to be able to get this win against the Suns. Gold Coast have struggled at Adelaide Oval in previous times, and I think Port Adelaide have one last effort. I think they can do this for Ken. I think they'll be able to do it for Travis Boak. And by the way, I think Boak is in pretty good form at the moment, so maybe they will make one last call to see if he can play on one more year. But other than that, I think the Power are going to be putting in one last showing for both those champions of the club. I know there's been some angst against Ken Hinckley over the last few years with Port Adelaide fans, but I do think that the majority of the sane ones anyway do understand that this guy brought them back from almost the brink of death, well, at least in the AFL sense. However, my brother, a Port Adelaide fan, doesn't think they'll get this one done. He does think that the Power will put up a fight for Boakie's last match, but Port have shown over the last 2 months or so that when it gets tough, they tend to fold, and he thinks that the Suns would just simply be too much of a class above for the Power in the end. But hopefully, for my tipping's sake, hopefully the Power can get this one done. After that, we head to the first game on Sunday. It is the Giants up against St Kilda. Now, the GWS are coming off the back of 2 pretty important wins over the last few weeks after a poor outing against the Dogs 3 weeks ago, while the Saints have won their last 4 games. However, those games have come against very lesser opponents. Now, GWS have had some issues with injuries for the majority of the second half of the season, but their backup players have proven to be able to play a role each and every week for the Giants and have kept them in good stead. Now, GWS could see the return of both Jack Buckley and Jesse Hogan this week. However, I think the latter will be given every single precaution with the finals pretty much a certainty at this point. I think about 17 different scenarios have to happen for the Giants to miss the finals at this stage, so I think they'll probably keep Jesse Hogan on ice at least until the first final. But on St Kilda's point of view, there is a lot of reason to celebrate over down at Moorabbin, as Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera recently signed a new deal to stay with the club. So we'll be interested to see if St Kilda play like they've had a massive weight lifted off of their shoulders, play helter-skelter football. Definitely hear a huge cheer for Nasiah when he touches the ball first of all in this matchup, even though it's down in Sydney. However, on St Kilda's form as a whole, yes, they've won their last 4 games, but the 4 wins have really not been convincing, and they haven't been against very good opponents. So I don't really know if St Kilda can get this one done. The Giants are way above the teams that they've beaten in the last 4 weeks. So I will be interested to see if the Giants do put someone to Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera. As the last 2 weeks, he hasn't had massive games in terms of numbers, but his impact has been massive for the side. So the Giants haven't exactly gone after players in the last month or 2. However, they do have players that can do that. So we'll be interested to see if they do try to target Nasiah throughout the game. However, in saying all of that, even though the Giants may be prone to losing a game like this, I really can't see them losing this. They've got so much to play for. There is still a chance that they could even make the top 4 if they win this game. Again, a bunch of scenarios have to roll their way for them to make the top 4, but they have to win to make it a chance. So Adam Kingsley will get them up for this game. I think GWS will win this one. My brother has gone the same. He says that the Giants have it all to play for. The Saints could be able to cause an upset, but he thinks that the Giants defense should be able to hold up against the Saints forward line, and then overall the other dominoes should fall into effect. Next up, of course, the game of the round. This is it really. The elimination final in August. Win and you're in the final 8. Lose and you're the team who missed out on finals with 14, potentially 15 wins to your name. So both teams have so much to play for, of course, for not only the fact of making finals, but the loser will be on the end of so much scrutiny after Fremantle, for one, choking a final spot last year, the Dogs being the most attacking team so far this year, smashing teams for fun. They would go down as the team with the highest ever percentage to miss the finals. So both teams a lot to play for. And I think this game really comes down to the Dockers forward line up against the Dogs defense. Both teams' weaknesses. Now Fremantle, if it wasn't for last week's pretty poor loss against Brisbane, I think most people would be putting the Dockers as heavy favourites in this game. Even though it is at Marvel Stadium and the Dogs have won 14 of their last 16 games there, I still think Fremantle would go into this this game as at least pretty good favourites in this matchup, but only scoring just over 40 points last week against the Lions does let people believe that there's a lot of trust lost for the Dockers. With Jai Amos in pretty poor form right now, and a couple of other players that really haven't come into their own when they do get down, they need the likes of Sarong and Brayshaw to carry this team a lot of the time, along with their defense. They're going to have to play out of their skin to beat the Dogs, but their defense is pretty solid. I think they can hold up against the Dogs forward line, but the Bulldogs defense is the real story here. They have to hold strong against the likes of Tracy, Shea Bolton if he is up there, Patrick Voss, who was down last week, he'll look for a response, and others as well. So these are going to be some players that the Dogs have to stop if they're going to win this game, because they're not going to be able to just roll over them like they did the West Coast last week. They're going to have to fight. Now, I personally think you should be going into this as a 50-50 game, because despite last week's loss for Fremantle against the Lions, before that point, they were one of the most informed team in the competition, and some people were saying that they could potentially be premiership contenders. Now, I honestly think whoever wins this game and makes finals can actually go on and win the flag, even from outside the top four. However, imagine losing this game. A team that could potentially be able to go all the way doesn't even make it. So huge ramifications for the end of this game, but to my tip. And despite everything, and Fremantle losing last week, I'm going to be putting my faith into the Dockers. For me personally, I think this team can go all the way, but they have to get over this first hurdle. Throughout this year, they have shown real maturity against some big teams in the competition. Last week, they really lowered their colours against Brisbane, but I think they're going to respond. And the Dogs, personally, I don't trust their defence. I trust the Fremantle forward line over the Bulldog defence, hence why I'm going with Fremantle here. This is going to be a massive game, though. We will actually be streaming this one as well, so make sure to come join us if you are wanting to check out on the game. But my brother has actually gone with the Western Bulldogs. He has said that Freo have proven all season that when they need to win, they don't. This is their last chance if they want to make finals. Sarong and Brayshaw need to have career best games to get this win at Marvel and against the best team to play on that ground. He can't see them being able to stand up and win this matchup. So he's going with the Dogs. I'm going with Fremantle. Biggest game of the round for mine. But there still is one more game we're going to be taking a look at, which is really big ramifications on the top four race. Brisbane up against Hawthorn. This is Sunday night. Both teams will be fighting for a top four spot. Brisbane, if they win, will secure a top four position, while Hawthorn would have to have Collingwood have a minor win or a loss for them to make the top four. If Hawthorn can win by a considerable margin and Collingwood only win by a little bit, Hawthorn can still make the top four. If Collingwood lose and Hawthorn win, Hawks will jump into the top four. If this was 8 weeks ago, I would give Hawthorn no chance in this game. However, in the last couple of months, Hawthorn have really improved, and their four-pronged tall forward line seems to be working. And I will be interested to see how they will compete against the Brisbane Lions up in defence. Now, the Lions did get back a couple of reinforcements last week in Starskovich and Leicester. Jared Berry could be out, which would be massive for the Lions. But I think personally, Brisbane have a lot of avenues to goal here, so it's going to be tough for Hawthorn's defence to hold up. However, in saying that, I'm going to be going with the Hawks. I think that Brisbane, one thing that's really eluded them this year is winning at home. They have struggled against teams at home so far this year, especially in the last couple of months. And Hawthorn, for me, even though they lost to the Crows a couple of weeks ago, have been in pretty good form. They lost 4 of their past 5 games, and granted, 3 of those wins have come against teams in the bottom 10. However, that win against Collingwood was very convincing, and last week against Melbourne, even though it was only a 36-point win, they had that game won throughout pretty much the first quarter and a half. So Hawthorn over the past 5 weeks have been a lot more consistent, so I'm going to be going with them, especially with Brisbane's home form right now. I just can't trust them at this stage. Now, my brother says that the Lions need to win to guarantee a top 4 spot, but if Hawthorn do enough to win, they can also make the top 4. He thinks the Hawthorn are going to be able to win this one as well. He has said that they've won 4 of the last 5 games against Brisbane, and with the Lions being going win-loss over the last 5 weeks, he's going with consistency with Hawthorn. But guys, with that being said, let's finally get to our full tips for round 24. So my tips are Carlton to beat Essendon, Collingwood to beat Melbourne, Port Adelaide to beat the Gold Coast, the Crows to beat North Melbourne, Geelong to beat Richmond, Sydney to beat the West Coast Eagles, GWS to beat St Kilda, Fremantle to beat the Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn to beat Brisbane, and then of course in the makeup game for Gold Coast vs Essendon, I'm going to be going with the Suns. And my brother's full tips for round 24 are Carlton to beat Essendon, Collingwood to beat Melbourne, the Gold Coast to beat Port Adelaide, the Crows to beat North Melbourne, Geelong to beat Richmond, Sydney to beat the West Coast Eagles, GWS to beat St Kilda, the Dogs to beat Freo, Hawthorn to beat Brisbane, and of course in that makeup game he is picking the Gold Coast over the Bombers. Next guys, we get to our certainty tips for the round. We both have 7 at this stage, 7 wrong answers. Of course, with the stream in the next couple of weeks, legs for the Boundary Riders Awards night for the live stream. We'll be eating 7 chilies at this stage over both of us, so 14 overall. So if one of us gets this wrong this week, then we will have an 8th to have to eat. Fuck, I hope the Swans win, because I am going with the Swans to beat the West Coast Eagles in my certainty tip this week. Sydney, of course, losing to the Cats last week, and my brother is going with Collingwood to beat Melbourne. Of course, the Pies losing to the Crows last week. And finally, guys, let's take a look at the tipping ladder for the round. And last week, I almost got the card. If I didn't tip Richmond over North Melbourne, I would have got full tips this round, which I think would have shocked a lot of people, because some people did struggle with a couple of tips. There were a couple of 50-50 games last week, but Leviticus still holds the top spot. His lead has dropped from 4 to 3, with Marcus trying to catch up. And then we've got Braxton View in 148 with 5 tips behind. The boy from SNB and myself are on 147, so we're right on the hammer, 6 tips away. I think it's going to have to be a miracle at this point. Leviticus is going to have to forget to lodge his tips if he's going to be able to drop that margin. But at this stage, that's really the top 5. I think it's really a top 3 race at this moment. And right now, Leviticus, again, I think he's going to have to miss doing his tips this week for him to lose from here. But guys, of course, make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy this episode of the preview to the new round. Of course, round 24. It all comes down to this. One more round. 8 teams will make finals. At this stage, only 1 is going to miss out, as the other 9 are eliminated. So make sure to let me know down below who you think is going to miss the finals, guys.
Next up, we get to my brother's betting segment for the round, of course, round 24 as well. You've obviously start with your Thursday night same game multi. Thursday night's game is Carlton versus Essendon. You going to be watching this game?
I will be for the multi.
You will be for the multi.
Really? Yes, and there's fantasy as well, which fantasy finals, but
I mean, so you're going for fantasy, you're going for betting. The game itself, are you interested in?
no, because it doesn't affect anyway how Port get to a draft picks.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, have you got a podcast exclusive bet this week?
Yes, I'm going to take Lockie Whitfield for 25 plus disposals against the Saints. At the moment, I think it was $1.30 or something around $1.30. He's done it the past 5 games, and I'll struggle to see how St Kilda really tag him. They'll go to Callaghan or Tom Green.
Yeah, which I think is probably the better idea.
Yeah.
I think Lockie Whitfield, he does get a lot of disposals, but I think that the players he gets it to are probably a lot more damaging than him.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Bro's bets for round 24.
All right, guys, let's get into the final round of the home and away season for 2025. As always, we'll start with our Thursday night same game multi, Essendon v Carlton at the MCG. First leg is Sam Walsh for 25 plus disposals. Second leg is Sam Durham for 20 plus disposals. Third leg is Blake Acres for 15 plus disposals. And the final leg is Peter Wright to kick 1 goal, valued at $3. My certainty bet this week, I'm taking Matty Rao for 25 plus disposals against Power on Friday night, valued at $1.41. In my outside the boundary bet this week, I'm taking Travis Boak to kick 2 plus goals in his farewell match, valued at $8.50. And as always, guys, gamble responsibly.
The review for AFL Fantasy for round 23 we get to next, and it's neck and neck. It's a 25-point difference. It's came right down to this. Throughout the whole entire year, most of it you've led, but there have been times when I've been in front, especially this last month or so. And I think you should have had this one for fucking a month ago. You had a way better team than me, and all of a sudden it capitulated and you're 25 points behind.
It screwed up because I had to play a rookie in my forward line, which I didn't want to do
For a very long time.
Yeah, for 2-3 weeks that I wanted to, and I think it was just the fact is that neither of us picked Sheasel as a captain last week. That we could have won by that one.
I don't even know. Did anyone pick Sheasel as even as a captain or vice captain?
Surely one of the one whoever got the highest score probably would have done it this week last week.
Yeah, because I think a lot of players last week had a lot of 85s to 105s. So it was not a very high scoring week for a lot of popular players.
Like my score was genuinely based on the last 3 weeks before last week, it was basically a mediocre score, basically, from what I've been doing.
Yeah, 2,300.
Yeah, and normally that's based on the last month, it's been around the 25,000 mark. This week it was in the top 5.
Yeah, exactly. Got in the top 3,000, I think, for the round, even though, 2,300 is not that great.
No.
Yeah, well, in comparison anyway.
Yeah.
But look, let's get to the rest of the review for AFL Fantasy round 23.
And overall, a decent week, as it seems like a lot of teams did struggle to break that 2,400 mark a lot of the time. I didn't even break the 2,300 barrier. In the end, my score was 2,244, which ranked around 13,000 overall for the round rank. Now, of course, we'll get to Harry Sheasel in a moment, but a couple of other decent performances over the week. We had Lockie Whitfield with the 103, not too bad. McCarthy, what a performance he's had basically since coming to mid-season draft. He got 82. McKercher 91. Bailey Smith 109. Dacos 106. Bontempelli with the 131 as my captain, which was 262, so you love to see that. Max Scorn with the 132. Lovely. Rowan Marshall with the 121. Chad Warner, one of his better games in AFL fantasy-wise for the year with the 98. Brian Myers 92. And that's pretty much all the good scores. Of course, we have to talk about Harry Sheasel. What a performance. Not even just on North Melbourne-wise, but AFL fantasy, the most important thing. 186. 54 touches, and overall was just a massive performance for him. Next week, he's got the Crows, or this week, so not really expecting that sort of score from him again, but to nearly break the disposals record in the AFL, I think it was equal with Tom Mitchell now. Very good performance from him, so well done, and it will be interesting to watch next year. Doesn't look like he'll get defensive status, but I think in the next week or two as well, probably towards the end of the season, we may actually do something on the podcast regarding players to look out for 2026, because I think it will be very interesting. But let's just take a quick look at some lesser best players from the week, players that weren't really at their best. Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera, of course, just re-signed with St Kilda, so that's great news for them. Would have been better if he scored a little bit better on AFL Fantasy, though. Only got the 81. Max Holmes with the 78 was kind of tagged by James Jordan, so you kind of don't mind that. Jordan Dawson, even though it was a great win for the Crows, only got the 91 in the end. No one actually broke the 100 barrier for the Crows in that game, but still 91, still would have wanted a bit better. Brayshaw with the 90, Tom Green with the 90. A lot of players that just could not break that 100 barrier over the week, which I kind of needed to have a score that was, plus 2,300. Will Ashcroft, first time in the team since returning, basically. 84. It was really disappointing because he had a really good first quarter and a bit for the Lions, but just couldn't keep on going. Caleb Sarong with the 83, first time for him in the team. Was expecting more from him going up against the Lions, but even though he wasn't really tagged or anything, still couldn't break a good score, and even in that game, Fremantle's highest scorer was 90. Luke Jackson with the 56. I think that's his lowest score of the year. Really disappointing. And Izak Rankine, along with Jeremy Cameron, low scores. Jezza only got the 50 against Sydney. As a Swans fan, I was happy he was kept goalless, but as a fantasy owner, I wasn't too impressed, and Izak Rankine 78, not really the greatest. Now, my brother's team over the week did beat me. He got 2,301, which was ranked 4,534 for the round. So pretty decent in the end. I mean, you can see it's only, nearly an 80-point difference. So not that much, but that breaks 9,000 in ranking points. So a lot of people really hovered around 2,300 to the mid-2,200s. Now, looking at my brother's team, 86 to Lockie Ash, 89 to Jordan Clark. James Sicily brought him into the team this week. Only had that money for him, only got the 79. But Lockie Ash and Jordan Clark both did pretty well for his side. He had Zach Butters with the 97, Tom Liberatore with the 96, Noah Anderson with the 118. So a lot of his players actually scored quite decently over the week. Caleb Daniel, he had it as well. But the players that he also had the captaincy on Marcus Bontempelli. He did have Harry Sheasel. A lot of the similarity scores for me were about the same, but the players that he had did score a little bit higher, like marginally. Like I had Ashcroft and Sarong. He had Butters and Liberatore who scored higher, along with Noah Anderson. And then that's kind of where the points broke down there, that he just got a little bit more than me this week. So now we get to our trades for the round. So my trades, the final trades for this week, final for the year, are Madden out for Dodson and Izak Rankine out for Sean Manor. Now, I was going to try and get Isaac Heaney as a midfielder, but I just can't find a way to get him. I have to get rid of Izak Rankine with his impending suspension. So Sean Manor is a good choice for mine. Has a game against the Tigers this week. Has been a pretty prolific goal scorer in recent weeks as well. So I'm expecting him to get another decent score. Was probably best on ground for the Cats last week. So really excited with Sean Manor. What an end of the season he's having as well. So really like that move. And I think the Cats with a pretty favourable game against the Tigers should be all good. And Dodson basically just getting that basement price player. Now my brother's trades points for round 24 are Taj Houghton out of his team for Dodson, and he's taken out Caleb Daniel for Sean Manor. So pretty similar trades in the end, trying to bottom out one player to then get that last-ditch effort to try and get a good score from a player. Sean Manor, I think he's the guy that a lot of people are going to bring in this week. I think probably the Crows players like Riley Philthorpe, Darcy Fogarty, like tall forwards, probably aren't the go. I don't think that in the last few weeks, the Crows forwards haven't really gone heavy on one player. They've kind of spread the goals, similar to Geelong last week. They didn't really go to Jezza Cameron. They spread the goals around each other. So I think at this stage, maybe stay clear of a tall forward. You can't really get rid of Jezza Cameron if you brought him in now, because there is such a chance that he cannot kick a bag against the Tigers. But at this stage, I think Manor is the go if you're looking for a high price forward. But finally, guys, let's take a look at the ladder for the channel. The Cheetah Cubs still got a stranglehold on that top spot of our league. He's got 49,013 over the year. He leads second spot, the Welshman, who is on 48,850. So he has a 163-point lead on top, the Cheetah Cubs, and only scored 2 points more than the Welshman last week. So it's getting pretty tight. It looks like the Cheetah Cubs has got it at this stage. I think he's been on top for the majority of the second half of the year. So he's got that spot almost sewn up at this point. The Delusional Fools has jumped into third spot after being hovering around 4 to 5 for a lot of the last 6 weeks, so he's done pretty well. Goonaville, my favourite name in the top 10, he's moved up into 6th spot, and Dua Lipa is in 10th. So the top 10 has stayed relatively the same for the majority of the last month or so. So looking at it right now, we moved down to where me and my brother are positioned, and we are neck and neck at this moment in time. I am sitting in 38th, he is sitting in 39th. He is 25 points behind me. So right now, this is my head-to-head league. This is my grand final. This week, I need 25 points. I need to win by at least 25 points over my brother, and I will take out the championship between the both of us. Looking at other teams around that mark, though, Giving Me Dumplings isn't too bad a score. He jumped all the way up into 35th spot after 2,388 over the week, so that's not too bad at all. But looking around the scores across the league, up the top, even down the bottom, no one really scored massive over the weekend, so it was kind of difficult. A lot of players, there was not really like many high-priced players other than Harry Sheasel. He scored 186, and I think you would have been very brave to pick him as your captain, so if you did, kudos to you. But I mean, praise Harry Sheasel over the week. But this moment in time, everyone's getting ready for their grand final in the AFL fantasy space, or they're looking to try and get the highest score possible in their open leagues. That's what I'm trying to do right now, guys. Make sure to let me know down below your trades going into the final round of the season, and make sure to check out next week as well, as we'll be doing not only a review for the final round, but also be reviewing the whole year on AFL fantasy for the channel.
And finally, we get to the flog of the week. Now, this was going to go straight to Nick Dacos for his ducking throughout the game against the Crows. Oh, sorry, not the ducking, the diving against the Crows. That was absolutely fucking soft as fuck. Did you see that?
Oh, I saw the one hit that Brodie Smith gave him. Like, I thought he gave out a hit to Brodie Smith, but it was literally as hard as Brodie Smith hit him, and he flew to the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he got up pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because let's be honest, he's a protected species.
Ooh, great. So this is getting a lot of negative comments on this episode. Anyway, he's got away with it this week because Caroline Wilson just put her like big pointy nose straight in front. She got out by her nose. So her reporting on Bobby Hill this week, I thought was fucking deplorable. I'm going to be honest.
It was nearly, some of it was even wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking typical of her too. She's been pretty good this year at fucking just false reporting. I feel like that show, The Agenda Setters, is purely just setting its own agenda and making its own stories.
How many
times have we heard a story come from The Agenda Setters? And it's just been fucking flat out wrong.
Well, I loved it. Yeah, well, you could name every single panelists on there to make a stupid story.
Stupid comment, stupid report.
Yeah,
it's just
what was it? So you had Caroline Wilson with this one that's coming up. You had Kane Corns, probably that's just an obvious one. Roey's done stupid ones over the past. The best one the second one was the second best one besides this one was Sammy Edmund with the St Kilda stories.
Yeah, Cal Wilkie.
Yeah,
looking to leave. Caroline Wilson, of course, with Nasiah Wanganeen-Milera and not going to the Crows, was quickly debunked. It's just fucking ridiculous. Anyway,
let's get comes up on top.
I mean, this is getting close to a nomination, so
We've obviously got a couple of nominations for the Flog of the Year, which we will be revealing in the Boundary Riders Awards live stream. Haven't planned exactly when we're going to do that just yet. It will be either the end of next week or the start of probably midweek, the week of the finals, the first finals week, so maybe a Wednesday. We will announce it in next week's podcast, but we will be announcing 3 nominees for that award as well. So you guys will have your say on the Flog of the Year. We have a couple of nominations ready to go, but this one very well could be up there as a contender, because I really hate this sort of AFL journalism bullshit. Anyway, let's get into what Caroline Wilson had to say regarding the Bobby Hill saga.
About Bobby Hill and what's going on in his life. Can we have a listen to what Craig McRae did say about him after the game?
Bobby's getting better every day. Not sure he'll be available next week, but it's pleasing to have him back this week, training hard for us. And we might strengthen up a little bit, especially with someone like Howie available.
Did Hill join the group yet?
No, he didn't come over.
Because there was a story going around that he flew to Adelaide.
Yeah, there was no expectation on that, no.
I can tell you the expectation. I think Bobby Hill was planning to go to Adelaide. I can't tell you exactly what happened that stopped him going from Adelaide. I do know that his family is really worried about him. His friends are really worried about him. Now, we know he had a marriage issue. I gather his partner and his family is back.
There's personal reasons why he's not playing at the moment, but there's concern around him. Yeah.
Well, and then it became about his fitness. He's one person he's always been really close to is his cousin Brad Hill. I understand there's been a falling out there between the two families, partly I think because Brad Hill attempted to perform some form of intervention and actually reached out to the Collingwood Football Club. He was so worried about his cousin. I don't think that went down too well with Bobby Hill, and I think that there have been days when he's just been uncontactable by anyone, days leading to even a week at some point. I mean, talk about fitness, talk about the family and the personal issues, but I think it's getting a bit more serious than that, and I think people are really worried about Bobby Hill's welfare. And taking the football aside, because Collingwood badly need him and they need him playing well, this is far more serious than that now, and I think I hope people, the right people, are intervening.
Collingwood are very well structured. They'll rally around him, and let's hope he can make it back.
I'm not blaming Collingwood for this, but it's a bit of a disaster, both football and personal wise.
Well, I mean, thank God Caroline Wilson's got Bobby Hill's best interests at heart. I mean, what a fucking absolute dog shit tabloid garbage effort of journalism that is. Like, for one, I didn't know that Bobby Hill had any issue with his marriage, but apparently everyone else did, according to Caroline Wilson.
I think there was a report that he's not actually married.
Oh, well, that's fucking great.
I think, actually.
That's great journalism. I mean, look, maybe that's the case. You can look that up while we're here, because, that's the little bit of journalism that we can do.
I think that's what actually I saw that.
But the point is that, like, this does not need to be brought up. The personal issues, the fact that she just quickly just blurts out there as well that Bobby Hill's had a falling out with Brad Hill, so that just throws him under the bus as well. Like, no one's even know that story whatsoever. She's just throwing little spot fires out everywhere that she's just got no knowledge about. Like, we clearly know that her journalistic standard is fucking low. Yeah. It's a pretty low bar. No, so you got here, what's that?
Yeah. So, Bobby Hill was never married. This is the first we've heard of the behaviour of it. It certainly sounds concerning, though. But yeah,
he's from.
I've met multiple Collingwood sources. Okay,
so I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I mean, I'm assuming he just means a partner. But even though, I mean, even that's just she's misspoken there. I mean, fucking, if you're gonna make these kind of accusations, for one, at least be well researched on the matter.
Yeah,
you're one of the most prominent journalists in the country regarding the AFL. You're gonna throw out fucking information that. For one, do we really need to know about the personal life of Bobby Hill and how he's going?
No, I think it's more that it's Bobby Hill. The only ones that do need to know is Collingwood.
Yeah, we don't need to know that Brad Hill and him have had a falling out.
No, we don't. We need to, if
he's going to play this week or not. If he's out with personal issues, okay, fair enough. And we don't need to know why the fuck he's out for. Can we actually ask you quickly? So, what issue exactly does he have? Now, I'm a guy on Instagram who, follows Collingwood.
I actually need to know how Bobby's feeling personally. Like, no, you don't need to fucking know that. If he's got personal issues, take that as face value. That's okay. He's out.
Yeah, if Collingwood want it to be known, they will do that.
Well, I think if Bobby Hill needs people to know, or wants people to be aware.
Bobby Hill can tell Collingwood, and then it's up to Bobby Hill if he's okay with it being public.
Yeah.
It's not up to anybody else.
It's certainly not up to Caroline Wilson's fucking...
and then to bring up the bit about Brad Hill, it's like, but they might know, there might have been a falling out there, but we don't need to know that.
Yeah.
We don't need to know that personal connection.
I mean, why does she even think that why does that need to be a point to bring up regarding... Now, I've seen a few rumours regarding, because obviously he recently re-signed with Collingwood, maybe he would want to leave again, but I haven't really brought it up because I think that it's not really a trade rumour that's worth of talking about at this stage, because I don't think he's going to go, for one. And two, I think the main reason that the rumour's around is because of these personal issues. So I don't think there's a real backing behind it. And I think, I don't mind talking about trade rumours on the channel, but I don't think that we should be talking about trade rumours about a guy who's could be potentially having some really serious problems right now, and just... I mean, I guess we talk about Jamarra a bit, but I think that's regarding the fact that he's not at the club, he's not performing, he's throwing his career out the window. From my understanding, it doesn't look like Bobby Hill is doing that. It just looks like that Bobby Hill's gone through some shit right now, and the last thing he needs is a journalist pretty much at his door knocking, which is basically what he would be getting now. A lot of people going, "Hey, Bobby, you okay, bro?" It's like, how about you leave me the fuck alone? I'm going through some shit right now. And Caroline Wilson's just thrown it out for all of Australia to find. Ridiculous. And it's going to be up there this year, I think. I think we have 3 nominees at this moment in time. Maybe we'll have 4. Maybe we'll eliminate one of the 3. But we've definitely got 3 nominees for the Flog of the Year. I mean, moving on from that, that's the end of the Flog of the Week. But I guess we'll talk about the Boundary Riders Awards before the end of the episode. At this stage, if you weren't on the channel last year, we did basically an awards night, like a live stream. We went through the votes. We did a countdown of the votes from the review that we do every single week for the Boundary Riders medal. We're doing that again, of course. We're going to be doing the Goal of the Year, the Mark of the Year, and the Flog of the Year. The Goal and the Mark of the Years are only based on games that we have called on the channel. So, we do our live streams. We talk about that sort of stuff. That's where you can get the nomination to them. So there probably will be some goals that are missed because I don't have time to stream every single fucking game of the AFL season. Maybe if you guys supported us as a channel member,
we could be full-timers.
We could be. So I really blame all of them, really, as you should. But we'll be doing 3 nominees for the Goal of the Year, 3 nominees for the Mark of the Year, and maybe 4 nominees for the Flog of the Year. We'll be releasing probably some clips on the channel here, the second channel that we do. Maybe just a video clip quickly to make notice of the nominees for the year. You guys can comment down below, and then tell us maybe which one you guys believe should be the nominees, and then we'll just see who can get it. And then the winner of the Boundary Riders medal, we had Zach Butters, year 1. Zach Merritt was a bit of a surprise last year when he won it. At this moment in time, I've been tallying it up. I think we're going to get you to do a lot of the votes next week, so there's no... because you don't know who's in front, I don't think. You have some idea.
I have an idea, but it's very close to the Brownlow. Like, the nominees for the Brownlow medal.
Well, that's just giving it away.
No, it's not.
You're right. I think the
Travis... I think it's a 5-horse race for the Brownlow. I really do. I think it's...
All right.
I think it's Anderson, Rao, Dawson, Dacos, and...
I mean, Nasiah could get...
I think Nasiah comes late. I really do. I think
Ponsonpelli's had a pretty good year despite...
I think he missed he missed 6 weeks.
He'll have a pretty good end to it, though.
Yeah, but I think I think it will be a close race around about a bunch of 5. Not like last year when it was a race of 2, and it was unbelievable. But I think it's a 5-horse race.
Yeah, I mean, the Boundary Riders medal... We've got a couple of close nominees up the top. I mean, it's not always the same as the Brownlow medal, but it's going to get pretty close.
Well, the last 2 Boundary Riders medals haven't won the Brownlow.
No, so I mean, it's more important. It's obviously.
I think we have a space of the area than midfielders.
Yeah.
We don't just look at midfielders and be ooh.
Yeah, I think that
I know one defender, Mark Keane's going to be pretty high up there in terms of votes. I don't think he's not going to win it. I'll just put that out there, but he's going to get quite a few votes. And I think right now, I'll put it out there, he takes over Darcy Moore's spot in my All Australians.
Yeah, I think I was going to say Harris Andrew takes over mine.
Yeah, I'm completely getting rid of fucking Darcy
That
Moore.
was it, yeah.
I mean, I made those calls 3 weeks ago, and every single comment that we put out on the clips on TikTok,
They were right.
100% right. Fucking delete him off my team. I'm picking Mark Keane right now. He's had a brilliant year. Fucking insane, especially this last. I mean, I guess he's probably been in good form when the Crows have been, but even at the start of the year, when the Crows weren't, as good as they've been now, he was still pretty decent.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're gonna be doing that. Will be announced next week, guys. The stream. We'll be doing that. Goal of the year, mark of the year, flog of the year. And then we'll be doing, of course, the countdown for the medal tally as well. And make sure to let us know if you want us to do anything else for the live stream. The next year, I think I've got some big plans for it. So we're going to be doing a little bit different stuff towards it. But I think this year we'll keep it pretty similar. Just keep on going to try and get it right. I think we made a couple of really good decisions on the... Because the first year, I think we kind of tested it. Second year, we got some things right, some things wrong. I think this year we're going to try and get everything perfect. And then we'll try and add some things in year 4.
And the probably the wild card of the voting system this year is the members' vote.
Yeah, there's a couple of members' votes that definitely... I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the regular count, and then at the end we're going to be doing the members' votes added on. So I think we'll call that like the People's Choice, and then we'll just have the regular Boundary Riders medal winner. So the People's Choice may very well be the Boundary Rider, the medalist anyway, but I think that's what we'll do as well. I think that'll be a nice choice to just say the People's Vote if someone gets it. We may even have just an award for or announce the winner of the members' vote who gets the most amount of members' votes, because there's a couple of players who have got it more than once this year. And by the way, I will just mention the fact that I don't choose the members' vote. I think a few people would be a little bit surprised if a couple of Swans players have got it, but I have not made a decision on it, okay? Most of the time, if people forget to vote on it for the week, because we only have a few channel members, I've asked you to fucking give the vote. And, he picks Port players, so... Well, actually, no, they haven't got many.
Well, Port haven't got many good players this year. Spectacular, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did obviously stuff the ballot box for the first year with Zach Butters.
Yeah, well, no Swans players even got him close, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I don't even know last year. I think Izak Rankine had a very good start, was up top, and then dropped off.
Yeah, I remember late last year, you were like, oh, yeah, Swans players are going to be 1, 2, 3. Gordon, Warner, Heaney.
Yeah, and then that dropped off pretty quick with that drop of form. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all we have for the Boundary Riders podcast this week. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. If you're on Spotify, make sure to leave us 5 stars and a follow so you're notified on the podcast and the review every single week. But again, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all next week.
See you later, guys.